It's the biggest race of the year. The one drivers look forward to all season long. But for many, the mountain can turn their dreams into nightmares.
Oh, big crack. Heavy hit. Oh, that's a very nasty accident.
This can only be bad. Nearly wiped out O'Brien. Backwards into the sand.
Oh, we got carnage in the background. We've got a few off. He'll end up in the grass.
That's a little tight.
This is round 6 of the V8 Ute Series, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe.
Well, it's that time of the year again. The V8 Ute boys and girls are back here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst for the latest round of the Hog's Breath V8 Ute Racing Series. This place is all about history, it's all about tradition, it's all about experience. David Cedars in this category is a guy who's got all of that. 4 times on the podium in the last 4 years, 2 round wins. He's a guy to look out for this weekend. Championship battle, well, it's raging. It's the classic Ford and Holden contest. No better place to have it than here at Mount Panorama. A range of drivers who've never competed in V8 Utes are making their debut here this weekend. I can't think of a worse place to come in a category like this to get right among it. It's set to be a big weekend here at Mount Panorama.
It's been a tremendous turnaround in form for the defending champion Ryle Harris, who has climbed from 12th to 5th after claiming the last round at Sandown. He's on double duties this weekend after securing a drive in the Dunlop Series 250k race this weekend.
Going from the Ute to the supercar is not really a problem. It's going back into the Ute. So the brake pressure in the supercar is so much more. So I'm going to be careful not to flat spot my tyres. I'm going to have to reset myself before every session and sort of get the guys talking me through it. It can remind me that I'm in a H pattern now, not a sequential. But, you know, it's good. Extra miles around this joint's amazing. And I'm still pinching myself every day. Like, I'm racing 2 categories at Bathurst. I'm loving it.
The drivers who have been duking it out for the championship lead so far this year have been Chris Walton and David Cedars. Although Walton has his nose in front, Cedars knows how to tame the mountain. He claimed victory last year and has been on the podium the past 4 years.
Last year here he's real fast, and the year before the same, so we know he's going to be quick here. We look at that sort of things, but if we can just finish close by him or hopefully in front of him, well, the championship's looking good.
The Bathurst hard luck story is Andrew Fisher. He's been just shy of a podium finish the past 4 years and is desperate to make amends and get his championship back on track.
I've got no excuses. We're no newbie when it comes to the mountain and when it comes to the Ute, so we expect to be up the front, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to make sure we're there.
Other contenders this weekend include third in the championship Nathan Pretty, who celebrates his 100th V8 Ute race start, and Jesse Dixon, who collected his first round podium, a third at Sandown.
Last year we were 14th in the championship, and now we're 4th. We're only a few points behind third, and you know, the first and second are away a bit, but look, if we just keep doing our thing and executing what we know we can do and staying consistent, which is a real key here, top 3 in the championship is my goal.
While he's not racing for a championship, Alan Letcher has redemption on his mind after he infamously rolled his Ute 7 times at the Chase in 2009.
Every week someone gives me a dig back in Perth, and when I got here I've had 3 or 4 slow remarks, so one day they'll all get over it, hopefully, boys.
Time to check out the point score thanks to Armour All. David Cedars is just losing grip of the title, needs to this weekend, hopefully win a couple races to try and tighten that up. Nathan Pretty is the first of the Commodores. Armour All pole position time, and there's been drama already. It's going to go to this guy, David Cedars, once again, but Chris Walton was the fastest man around the track, but he was one of 7 guys to lose their best times for a breach of Park to May rules, so it's another Armour All pole position award that will go to David Cedars, and that should help him to try and close up that championship picture. We have 3 rounds remaining. The V8 Utes fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe, and we're ready to drop the hammer up here at Mount Panorama.
This round, we profile a driver who has a strong family connection with Bathurst, Jared McLeod.
I was sort of born into a motorsport family. My father, Peter McLeod, was quite a prominent touring car driver back in the 80s, and yeah, it's sort of just a natural progression for me, so I love it. It's in the blood. Dad won Bathurst with Peter Brock in 1987, which was Peter's last win, and yeah, so it's a bit of proud Bathurst heritage that we have in the family, and I'm here trying to fulfil as much as I can and sort of hold the McLeod name up nice and strong. Greatest rival in the Utes would have to be probably Elliot Barber. Elliot's driving another Holden this year. We seem to always find each other and have a bit of a tussle, so I was on the receiving end at Sandown, but we'll see how we go this weekend. What I enjoy most about V8 Ute racing is just how close it is, you know, nice and rough, so you can get your elbows up and really get on top of the wheel and have some fun.
The boys are heading up the mountain on their warm-up lap. Big good morning to Jason Bargwanna as we get set for some Ute racing at the mountain race 2. The reverse grid race is heading out there, but Bugs, let's check out the highlights from what was a fairly action-packed race 1.
Well, there it is. David Cedars from pole. Didn't quite get the good start. Reece McNally around the outside, and he's going to lead them up the hill for the first time here this morning. So there you can see, side by side, Robbins racing, bit of contact through the field, but Burnett found himself out in the gravel trap, run wide and rejoined down the back.
Did a good job to keep his foot planted in that one. So side by side, 2 by 2 by 2 up the hill. Harris was on the inside by the time we got to turn 2. Well, it's Hansford who managed to pick up 1 or 2 spots amongst all that battle as well. Now this is big here. The McMahon Mining Ute gets hung out on the outside of Andrew Fisher. Talking about McLeod here. He didn't see Marjoram coming up the inside and squeezed him against the fence, and that sent McLeod hard into the wall.
And that's his weekend done, so it's a disappointing weekend for McLeod. But this is a great battle to see here. We've got Harris and Cedars going for it in position 2. So down into the chase, it became quite interesting because it was a real hard battle for the championship. Obviously, Harris is not into it, but for Cedars, every point's important. But here it is, Harris had a look down the inside. Oh, no.
Wrong. Just got it wrong in a big, big way. He speared Cedars off. He would keep his foot planted in the West End Mazda all-purpose pest control Ute. The super slow-mo shows just how heavy the contact was to the left rear. The rim gets absolutely belted there. And in terms of the championship, that's massive because it actually gave Chris Walton a couple easy spots right there. And Cedars going flying off backwards, trying so hard to just get some championship points back, not what he wanted from the 2-time champion.
So Harris is going to find himself in a bit of trouble after this race, I'd imagine. That was a big move, but it was all the way down with Reece McNally. He's led from the outset, sideways in the Holden, over the line. Chris Walton is in second. That's great for the championship, but as you can see there, Harris going through, and there's David Cedars. He gets across the line in 9th place.
Yeah, McNally, his teammate, will win the race. He's first at Bathurst. Cedars home for 9th. Very disappointing. First time Holden have won the first race on a weekend. Got to go back to Townsville 2013 for that one. Reece McNally doing a very good job off the front row, but Chris Walton in second takes a few more championship points away once again from David Cedars. A couple of onboards to look out for. We've got the Newlon onboard of Andrew Fisher, and the guy in front of him, the IXL car of Jeremy Lostet Gray. Century Batteries onboard riding on the tray. We check out the grid. It says Barbara Medicki off the front row, but we've just had that penalty handed down to Harris. It was a fairly strong one, and it sees Cedars actually make the insert. So that's pretty good news there for David Cedars. He'll start off the front row now.
A bit of bad luck in that first race, puts him on pole for the second race. So Andrew Fisher there, you can see he's going to have a great battle with Marjoram. Kim Jane, normally you see him at the front, he's in the middle of the field, but have a look at some of these names down the back. It's Noel Edge, Peter Burnett, who recovered, Alan Lecter. What a great to see him back here at Bathurst. But it's Cedars sitting on the front row in pole position, the perfect place to get as many points as he can over with Chris Walton.
Hawkeye on board is sitting inside the Thirsty Camel door of Craig Dontis, green car, and the green flag. Waving at the back, Al Letcher, the last man on the grid alongside Peter Burnett. It's Cedars alongside Elliot Barber, winner of race 2 at Sandown. Red lights out, Cedars got a good jump, someone slow away from the back, but yellow flags withdrawn and we're off and racing. Second race for the weekend.
Cedars learned from that first race, he's got this start right. Elliot Barber's going to hang on the outside, use a bit of everything that's available. Oh, there we go, bit of contact, and that's really going to put Elliot Barber in the right position. You can see Cedars now falling back through the middle of the field. Up the outside is Medecki. There's Nathan Preddy as well buying into the argument, so this is on.
Oh, that's a bad start for Cedars. He could be 5th by the time we get to the bottom of the hill, and Elliot Barber jumps to the lead, closely followed by Nathan Preddy. Holden at the front, something that we're not used to seeing in 2014. They're making something of a resurgence, and he's wide. The Just Car Insurance Ute goes wide, and Medicki up the inside of Preddy. This is good racing.
So Pretty's had to get out of the throttle there, and it's given George Badecki a bit of a sniff up the inside, and he's got through. Now Elliot Barber, he's leading the race across the top of the mountain. We saw him win his first race at Sandown, and now he's leading at Bathurst. This is exciting stuff.
So the Warren Millet-owned iSeek ute will... Great into the wall. Hard into the wall. And is he going to be able to keep this thing going, or is this going to be a safety car? We didn't get one in race number 1. Might just... it's close. Peter Burnett nearly hit him.
That's a bit of Bathurst inexperience there. You can't come out of the chase, out of the cutting too wide and hang on the outside. It runs out of road real quick. Elliot Barbie using all the road across the top. Tyre pressures are low, tyre temperature's cold, so these cars move around a lot. It'll be interesting to see who's set their car up for later in the race or early in the race.
Some of the best racing that we've seen from Slick Miedeke since he made his return to the series. 2009, we saw him on the podium a few times back then. Could this be the weekend for the wake-up unit to jump up to the podium? Here goes Chris Killer-Walton, championship leader, makes a move on Jesse Dixon. And Kim Jane, who won a couple races here last year, was on the podium, is coming along for the ride.
So when there's only 30-odd points in this championship, these reverse grid races, these are so difficult to get right, because all it takes is that one little mistake and it can kill the championship. So for Cedars and Walton, this is high-pressure stuff in amongst these guys trying to win their first race at Bathurst.
Through the chase for the first time in race number 2. The Stratco ute's a little bit sideways. Did a good job to gather that one up. He's in there behind. That's actually Hansford up there in the multi-spares ute on the podium as well here last year. First lap complete, and it looks to be Elliot Barber who's going to get the job done. But he's got some pressure mounting up behind him. It's Miedeke in second, Nathan Pretty, who knows this place very well. Won the 24-hour race 12 years ago in the Bonaro.
Wow, that was 12 years ago.
Already.
Yeah, I know what I've got grey hair. So, Elliot Barber out in front, George Badecki putting some pressure on. Now, this is going to be a bit of a challenge. He's just clipped the curb there. So he really wants to put the pressure on to Elliot Barber so he can run wide, make a mistake. We've seen this weekend cars that miss the apex. They run that little bit wide, they lock a brake, and they can easily drop 3 and 4 spots. So George Badecki's got to find a way through. It is hard to pass here at Bathurst, particularly once you get past turn 2 and up over the top of the mountain. So he's got to put the pressure on and see if Barber will crack.
Ryan Hansford just goes defensive on the inside. He's got race 1 winner Reese McNally following him around right now. Let's check out the Yokohama replay of the start.
Whoa, the Cedars on the line there. It was very close. I think they've had a look at that one, and they've obviously cleared it. But for me, he was right on the line. The perfect place, the perfect start. He's got away.
Yeah, but this is where it went wrong for him. He just leant on Barber at the exit there, and then there was contact through there. Now, okay, we're going to get a bit of an idea as to what happened to, first of all, we're going to see a bit of bumping. There's Marjoram on the outside of Jeremy Gray, and Gray would eventually end up in the fence. Let's see how it all happened. Was there someone involved? Oh.
Yeah, you can't turn in from out there and expect to make it around the corner. The car just doesn't cut it. Gets light, out in the greasy stuff, and bang, straight into concrete. Concrete 1, Falcon 0.
It's always going to win that fight. He had such a good round at Sandown. He was almost in there for a reverse grid race win. They're working on it in the pits. Hopefully they can get it back out there and see if he can scamper through for some points. Join the leaders once again as we go through Forest Elbow. Still a good battle going on. Elliot Barber not really getting away from this field. And there's first and second from the first race. Goes to Taylor's well. Andrew Fisher still inside that top 10 battle. Quick ad break here at the mountain. It's really starting to heat up in the utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. Welcome back to Bathurst. We're in race number 2 at the moment. Oh, championship leader goes spearing off at the chase. The red co-ute of Chris Walton did a good job to avoid the fence. Dixon went with him. Oh, he nearly feeds Kim Jane a wheel. Wow, welcome back, and it's on.
It's on. Barber, he's gone as well. So that little mistake, we talked about that, the pressure of leading the race. And it looks like he's made a bit of a mistake, run wide, and handed the lead to George Badecki.
Oh,
it's all happening.
Very disappointing. Look how far back he's dropped, about 9 or 10 spots as a result. We'll be brawling back with Jesse Dixon, and just in between Andrew Fisher, who's at some double duties this weekend. A few guys doing double duties. No more so than Royal Harris, who's taking on a 250k race in the Dunlop Series. Let's ride on board now with Andrew Fisher, thanks to Newlon Oils.
Good example of getting it right. Andrew Fisher there just bumped off the limit, and you can see how much it's lost. It's cost him a good 2 car lengths. He was in the tow, and now he's lost that tow.
Kim Jane on the outside of Chris Killer-Walton. Oh, there was contact between those two, and that could have seen the series leader in the fence. Marjoram up the inside of Fisher. He got a good run up the hill, didn't he there, Marjoram, as a result of Fisher hitting the limiter. Could make it move, though. Oh, this opens up the door for Royal Harris. And the rookie from last year is going to lose a spot as a result. Just got outfoxed a little bit there.
So Harris, after that little incident in race 1, where he came in contact with Cedars, turned Cedars round, and Harris clearly got the penalty for that one. So, and here we are on board with Elliot Barber. Under brakes, is it? Lock the rears? Yes, just a little bit. Right towards the end of the stop. We just missed the downshift to lock the rears, and it's run the car wide. Once you get off that racing line, you're in trouble here.
We've seen that in every single category this week, and especially the advanced supercars. This new racing surface is fast, but when you get offline, you can find yourself in some trouble. And the spot would look like maybe locking the left front at the approach to Skyline. Let's go on board now with Elliot Barber with the white Adidas gloves. Certainly got a bit of style about him. He and George Miedeke, both good friends.
He'll be kicking himself after that mistake. He had the opportunity, he had the lead, and just had to get the head down and get on with it. But he's made that little mistake, and here he is trying to find a way past Jesse Dixon now. What I love about these utes across the top of the mountain there, they're so heavy. They really work the front tyres so hard. The lights, the rear is very light, and they're an exciting car to drive. And you can see when they get down to the chase, it's difficult for him to get the braking mark. It's easy for him to run wide. As you can see, Nathan Pretty now having a crack at the lead down into the chase. Side by side with Miedeke. Oh, this is great racing to this. Side by side. Who's going to come out of this one?
They're giving each other a fair bit of room. Oh, they just touch at the exit of the chase. Miedeke will have the inside down the bottom of the hill if you can pull it up. Pretty nosies there.
Pretty, I know. So Miedeke's coming back at him again. We've got side by side for first and second, side by side for third and fourth. These guys are still racing. They're giving each other room. This is great racing.
The GoPro Be a Hero Ute will be on the outside once again.
Cedar's not sure which way to go here. He's looking to inherit the whole lot. And Hanson's sitting back thinking, what's going to happen next?
Then it's McNally and Walton.
Still side by side.
This is
awesome.
awesome.
From the chase, right from the edge of the chase, down through the chase, last corner, first corner, they're still side by side. Now Nathan Pretty has put himself in the best position.
Can Cedars jump onto this? He might have hurt steering here as well, David Cedars, after that first lap incident. Still we're side by side. There's an oil flag or debris flag, which will make life even more interesting. And now McNally's closed the gap. Oh, we're leaning on each other, rubbing mirrors at the approach to Griffin's Bend. And finally, the GoPro Ute of Nathan Pretty literally wrestles the lead away from Slick Miedeke, but he'll hang on to second.
That started 6 corners ago, and they were side by side. This is great racing. We don't normally see that. They normally lean on each other, but it's good to see the quality guys at the front doing a great job.
As a result, this has now turned into a 9 or 10 ute battle for the lead, which includes first and second in the championship. Up through Reed Park we go.
Chris Walton there now. He's kicking himself after that little mistake. But he's, 3 cars back there from David Cedars. That's the one. That's the one he's got to set his target on and try and get up to and get in front of.
Just car insurance ute now of Elliot Barber across McPhillamy. Got to be patient through here.
This is where the car gets light. We're on the brakes. The rear of the car just slides a little. It gets heavy again. On the brakes, we turn the car into the right, light in the rear, slow it down, let it turn, get on the power early for a run down to Forest Elbow.
So Pretty in front right now, and disappointing for Slick because his dad was a winner here. Oh, here we go. Up the inside goes Walton. I was going to say Mad Andy did win a ute race a couple of years ago, and I think it was a Pro-Am that they had a few seasons back here at the mountain. Let's check out how we finally got this move made. Watch how close these two got onto the Yokohama replay. Very close.
Just a little bit of contact. That's great stuff to see. I mean, very respectful, quality driving, giving each other room, and they've managed to get through with really not taking any pain off at all.
End of the 4th lap. It's Pretty who's got the lead finally sorted. Elliot Barber's looking a bit racy. To the inside he goes with Jesse Dixon, first and second last year in the Rookie of the Year honours. Opens up the door nicely for last year's champion. Roll Harris now down towards turn 1. Might be able to take a spot away from his fellow driver in blue, Elliot Barber.
Andrew Fisher's going to get a good run out of turn 1 here and see if he can jump into that toe again. But he's got to be careful not to hit that limiter like he did last time.
Oh, he just touched it just a little bit. You can see the shift lights approach on the top of the dash.
And there's Elliot Barber now trying to find a way around. He's lost that spot back to Roll Harris, who got it, but he's having a crack back again. So it's good to see these two side by side, and it's Harris that's going to come out in front.
Still got plenty to sort out in race number 2 for the weekend of the V8 Utes. Quick break, more from the mountain after this. Welcome back to Mount Panorama Bathurst. Round 6 of 8 for the V8 Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. And it's the reverse grid race that we're watching at the moment. Nathan Pretty is your leader from George Slick Miedeke. He was sharing the commentary box with us last year, but he's out there pushing for a podium. And second of the championship, David Cedars in third. He started off the front row. He has 4 podiums at this venue the last 4 years straight. You just would think that he'd not be converting a couple of race front row starts up over the outside of McPhillamy. That was Ryan Hansford getting very wide. Down through Skyline we go.
It's good to see Nathan Pretty. Got that move done on George Miedeke. He's just starting to inch away a little bit now. Mideke's pushing hard. Cedars in there trying to find a way through. Here's Chris Walton now. He's going to buy into this. Down the inside of Hansford. Good, clean move. And they'll have... now that means that the championship contenders are only 1 car apart.
That worries me.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Considering what's been happening so far this weekend for David Cedars. A lot of speed, but just everyone seems to be picking on him at the moment.
So that incident with down at the Chase in the last race with Roll Harris. Now he's got Chris Walton right behind him. You'd like to think these two, they need the points. They've got to be smart about the way they go racing, and hopefully they won't end that situation. You can see Cedars now. He's closed up on the back of Miedeke, and he wants to try and put that car between him and Chris Walton. He needs every single point he can get. So is he going to take the risk? We'll have to wait and see.
There's no bigger wake-up call than having Chris Walton appear in your mirrors. We've got a lot of smoke and dust in the background. It's Spudwood is limping.
Damage. We've definitely got some damage there. So Spudwood, he's pulling off to the circuit. That should be safe enough not to have the safety car out. And that's going to put us onto the final lap here. Has he done this by himself? He's got a little bit sideways. Come out of the chase.
Uh-oh.
Opposite lock. Into the fence. So, yeah, he's made that little mistake. And again, a car that comes just offline a little bit is in a lot of trouble very quickly.
It's a new fence that's only been put there recently. Might remember the big crash that the Rat had there, Paul Ratasich, a few years ago.
You can see Chris Walton having a bit of a look at the back of Cedars. He's trying to work out a way of doing this cleanly. And can he get the points done? Can he get that extra bit of point to make it happen? But Ryan Hansford, he's now sitting back watching these two. Not sure which way to go. He could inherit a spot here out of this as well.
So we're going to have this race shortened by just the 1 lap. So this we'll make it the final lap now. So Nathan Pretty for the final time across in front of the big campsites. Across the top of the mountain. Look at Walton, he's so quick across the top. That is not the spot to do it. I thought he was going to have a bit of a look at Cedars, the approach to Skyline. Can you get it stopped and turned down towards the dipper we go?
You see Chris Walton, they're using the gearbox to slow the car. It's easy to lock a brake, so you use the gearbox a little bit more to slow it down rather than rely heavily on the front brakes across the top of the mountain. The car gets light, and you can see him having a look at the inside. Oh, don't do it, don't do it!
Contact!
No!
Oh, massive slide for David Cedars, and that could have been lights out for the championship. He manages to hold it, and as a result, Hansford picks up a spot, opens up the door for McNally as well. Cedars desperately trying to hang on to third, and they're all queuing up behind him. Last time down Conrod, here comes the chase. This could be tears. This is where it all went wrong for him earlier.
Oh, 4 5 wide, they're all in there. Look at this, McNally's got the car sideways, and it looks like Cedars have been able to clear them a little bit through the chase and get away. But Chris Walton, he made that little mistake. He's now out on the dirt.
Careful, careful.
That all started at Forest Elbow. He had half a look, didn't quite get the job done, but it's created an interesting situation for the points. But it's Nathan Pretty in the Commodore who's going to win here at the Mountain in race 2.
They're still fighting, squabbling over 5th onwards. Kim Jane was sideways out in the dirt. He was fighting for third, Walton. As a result, he'll come home in 6th. Cedars desperately hung on to third position. A good job. And Holden, for the first time since we were here last year, have won 2 races in the same weekend. And Pretty takes out the reverse grid race just like he did in Townsville.
Well, Nathan, these races are the ones where it can all happen. And from your point of view, it was smooth sailing and right out of trouble.
Yeah, look, I was watching the rear vision mirror a little bit and seeing there was a fair bit of chaos going on behind me. But look, that was a good fun race, actually. Georgie and I had a good tussle there for quite a few corners side by side, you know, and that's the difference between having respect for each other and all the rest of it and not just trying to send each other off. There's a few guys that I trust that they're going to give you that racing room on the exit and all the rest of it, and Georgie's definitely one of them, so hats off to him as well, and good job.
Extreme Clutch is the official clutch supplier to the V8 Ute Racing Series. The twin-plate clutch that's been developed specifically for the category allows drivers to efficiently transmit the torque between the engine and drivetrain.
The Utes run quite a high torque engine in a very heavy vehicle. So what we've developed is a small 7 1/4 twin plate, which allows them to have a low moment of inertia for light gear changes, but also gives them the torque holding ability they require to get off the line quick and swift.
With the V8 Ute Racing Series considered the most punishing motorsport category in the country, it's the perfect testing ground for Extreme to fine-tune development of their clutches, which are now exported to racing teams around the world.
The V8 Ute Series provides us with 32 of the toughest vehicles and toughest drivers to, I guess, help with our R&D, and through that we receive quite a lot of feedback from all the teams and drivers on how we can better improve our product to suit, you know, not only just the Utes, but every other racing product and every other road-going product we develop.
For more info, head to the V8 Utes website.
It's our iconic mountain, our favourite place to go racing, and we have one race left. The V8 Utes here at Bathurst, the third and last round of the championship, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. McNally looking good so far this weekend, and our two race winners have the front row all to themselves.
It's pretty exciting here this time of the morning at Bathurst. It's the bacon and egg smell across the mountain, the smoke haze. It's early, it's cold, it's crisp. But these drivers, they tend to leave their brains in the toolbox back in on Sunday morning at Bathurst. So hopefully we can get through this one nice and clean and see if we can take this championship right down to the wire.
Saw Terry Nightingale's name pop up there in the graphics as well. Keep an eye out for him, as he is a local Bathurst boy. We have someone who's relatively local in Phil Woodbury. He lives in Lithgow. How will the local guys go when we get ready to go racing? Final race. Cedars, can he make back some championship points? It's not been an ideal weekend for him. Can McNally finish it off in style? We're waiting for the lights to go out. Final race at Bathurst.
Oh, very even across the front row there. Pretty got the initial jump, but McNally's come back at him and put himself in the right position there. Side by side, side by side, side by side. Now we go 3 wide down through the field. So, as I said, Sunday morning at Bathurst always makes me a little bit nervous. The tension's high. It's been a great weekend. There's been a lot of mistakes, but I'm sure the racing will be clean and tidy this morning.
Craig Dontis has had a tough weekend, had to change out some shocks and has had radiator issues. It's just not been a lucky few rounds. Side by side, Fisher on the inside, Jane on the outside, and somebody decides I'll go right up the inside, and we could have a few on the fence here. Good save, Jane and Fisher. It was Harris who lit the match there and started the fire down at turn 2.
Oh, Harris, he's been in trouble already this weekend. We had that incident in race 1 with him and Cedars, and he's really pushing the envelope here in race 3 on the Sunday morning. It makes me nervous, it really does, because I know these tyre pressures are cold, the track's cold, and as soon as we see these cars step off line, they tend to get in trouble.
Chucky Baxter's our referee, if you will, this weekend. He's had a few big calls to make. Here's Jeremy Gray. Crash in race 2, Century Batteries on board to go over the mountain, and Jeremy lost at Gray. He's gone further than he did in the last race, at least so far. A bit of work to do further down the order. McNally leads us across the mountain in front of the campers, still wiping the sleep out of their eyes on race day here at Bathurst.
What a great shot at the start of the day. These cars nose to tail down the hill. No one's got an edge at the moment. This is so close. We saw McNally early in that race 1 open a little gap. Nathan Pretty opened a little gap in race 2, but it's those two guys now at the front. And we need to see where they're going to be at the end of this one. But it's the real championship battle we've talked about a fair bit. Chris Walton had that little contact with Cedars in race 2. You've got Kim Jane now being hung out wide. It's great to see them side by side through the corner, and they're on. They're off.
Just a little bit of a glance over. There's a bit of Richards and Dick Johnson about that. Should have given them the old thumbs up as they go flying down the hill.
Decky down the inside already on Nathan Pretty. We saw them go side by side in yesterday's race. Now Hansford's trying to get into this one as well, so Medecky's going to find himself out wide here. But can Hansford get through? No, so he'll back off again. And we've got Pretty up in... Oh, no!
Pretty, he'll be fuming. Second position. And a few guys were all over his tailgate, and he's been spun out at the end of the first lap.
Ryan Hansford, he just got in the back of Pretty there and pushed him wide, and Pretty was a passenger from then on. Oh, Marjorie's up the inside of Harris there, so Harris is trying to find his way through. He can see Chris Walton in front now, so he's got to try and get up there and get himself on the podium.
Harris doing double duties in the Dunlop Series. Marjoram doing double duties of a different kind. He's doing a double degree over at the University of Western Australia. So he's quick in the car and hopefully quick in his exams as well as he goes back down the hill, second lap. And he's wise to just give the pest the inside line.
The pest. Yeah, I think David Cedars thought the exact same thing on race one. So there's Dontas. He's making a bit of a move up the inside as well. Let's have a look at that start again. You can see those front row guys nice and even. They're away, and there's nothing in it. But it was McNally that put himself in the best position.
What a dream weekend this is proving to be for Reece McNally. Good start as well there for Jesse Dixon, who got up the inside. David Cedars. Again, Walton. And it looked like maybe Barber leaning on each other up the hill.
Have a look at Royal Harris there. He's had a look up the inside of Fisher, and the gap closed. We ran out of road, a little bit of contact, and it was Kim Jane that was caught wide. So a great job by Kim Jane there not to end up in the fence, because out there it's marbly, it's dusty, and he's hung onto that well. Fisher's opposite lock and held onto it.
Two of the older boys out there on the grid, and I think the experience helped there. This is a replay of Mediki getting... It looks like it, doesn't it?
I'm sure we saw this yesterday, these two guys side by side down the chase, and they give each other racing room. But there's Hansford in the background, and I've got a feeling this is going to go bad at the next corner.
Seriously, is that actually yesterday? Because that is carbon copy. And this is where it all went wrong. I think, I'm going to let you point the finger on this one. That's not my job.
Oh, I think they'll be having a chat to Mr. Hansford after that one. So he's just got the back of Nathan. It doesn't say, here we go.
Going on. Woodbury goes up the back.
What did I say about
Danny
the toolboxes?
Bazadzic, exactly. Bazadzic gets stuck at the outside, and he's out of here.
He's done.
He's smoke bombed it. That's a first for the Utes. We've had a car completely disappear.
And for my next trick.
Transported off to some parallel universe. So he's back. It's good news. The boy from Victoria rejoins.
Marvel of television. So that's Reece McNally out in front there now, and he's opening up a small gap because of that contact we had with Hansford and Pretty. It's given Reece McNally a bit of breathing space, so he can just head down now and try and get the laps done.
McNally, after winning his first ever race at the mountain in race number 1, can he win his first ever round in the V8 Ute Series? And Mediki is on for a podium, the first one in 5 years since he last came on an 09 Odia. The Jesus Racing Ute has pulled over, running up the mountain.
Is he involved in that contact there? I'm not sure if he's got a flat tyre or... Yeah, I mean, he's obviously done the best he can do. Oh, no. There we go.
That'll do it. The shifter is loose.
Box full of neutrals.
Quite literally there. We can see you, Andrew. I know. We can't help you. I'm sorry.
Bugger.
The rip shifter is done. Over the top with McNally now, opening up a fairly sizable lead.
Oh, Hansford using all of the road. Probably a bit more curve than you'd like at the top of the mountain. There's Elliot Barber, Jesse Dixon, Royal Harris. And here we are on the Yokohama onboard, a replay with Andrew Fisher. Yeah, okay, so that's Woodbury taking out the back of Bazadzic. Bonk! Look at the dent on the bonnet on that one.
So bad news for Woodbury. He's probably the guilty party in that one, isn't he? Big dent on the front of the Kubota Ute and the Western General Bodyworks. Ute goes flying off for boy from Melbourne, Danny Bazadzic. He's got the Hamper World sponsorship on the back as well, which has led him to his new nickname this weekend, Bargs. Basket Case.
Basket Case. Backwards basket case.
Oh man, that was a fairly sizable off, and just goes to show you that if you don't get the braking right at the end of Australia's longest straight, it can end up with a few people getting spun off into the dust.
Yeah, well, it's a challenge down there, isn't it? You're 260 k's an hour. You haven't got a lot of grip. You've got to get on the brake pedal and try and pull this big, heavy ute up. All it takes is a little bit over the edge, and there's your result.
Down at the end of another lap of Mount Panorama, and side-by-side racing continuing between the all-purpose Pest Control West End Mazda Ute of Royal Harris. And he's got Jesse Dixon on the outside. Heyman Reese Commodore might just be able to hold on. No, Harris is so strong on the brakes. Look at that.
And this will give Chris Walton the run as well. So he's looked up the inside there. Now you can see him up the outside of Jesse Dixon for turn 2, but it's Royal Harris making the moves. He's trying to push through to the front. He's now got Elliot Barber as the next one, but Chris Walton side by side with Jesse Dixon. Who's going to come out in front in that battle?
Walton's been doing a fair bit of racing over in New Zealand. He's actually leading their points charge for the Utes as well on the last round. A weekend to go in the wet. And we do have a couple of Kiwis that have made the trip over for today's round. First of which is Sam Barry. He's up there inside the top 10, having his best weekend in the Australian Ute Series.
I was going to say Chris Walton was very kind there, but I've seen the background of green flag and yellow flag, so that's why he backed out of that one. and it was he's let Jesse Dixon back in front of him again. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a battle than that. That little gap that Reece McNally's pulled now over these two battling for second place. David Cedars, he really wants the points. He needs the points. There's your championship leader, Chris Walton, and David Cedars managed to find himself now up in a good position with about 4 cars in between the two.
2012 Rookie of the Year now leading the points is Chris Walton as we check out Ryan Hansford. Oh, a lot of dust has been kicked up. I wonder who that was, maybe Medicki running wide. Just managed to gather it back up, hasn't lost a position as a result. Hansford sideways.
Look out.
That is a dangerous spot to do it, the approach to the dipper. We've seen a few guys in the V8 supercars get it wrong through there. Garth Tander had a practice crash there this week. The man that you share a Bathurst win with.
Yes, we can see Cedars now doing the same thing. So all it takes is that little bit offline and the grip level just deteriorates so quickly. And that's the mistakes that have been happening right throughout the course of the weekend. And I reckon they'll continue today in the big race as well. Because you can see that the way these guys, they load the tyre, it's got grip and then all of a sudden it breaks away and they're gone. But down the inside now, he's going to lose another spot to Elliot Barber. That's safe to see. He's going to lose another spot to Elliot Barber. Or will he?
He refuses to give up. He's going to fight for every position so far this weekend. Oh, he just wipes the nose of Barber clean, and now Harris goes around the outside. He's sideways. He's going to come back on and make contact with Cedars, who catches it. That could have been big. Oh, and he goes into the side of Barber. It's still on down at the end of the 4th lap. Barber eventually takes that spot, but I'm worried about that car of Cedars. That took 2 or 3 big hits, and Dixon's going to go by as well.
And all that started at the top of Conrod Straight, out of Forest Elbow. You saw Cedars run that little bit wide, and he's ended up putting himself in a position being swamped by the field. He's hung onto it, he's run wide, then we've had contact between these two guys again this weekend, and there's Chris Walton now getting more points over the top of David Cedars.
So that championship lead will be stretched out in the 3rd race. Walton's got a great run onto Mountain Straight. Maybe Harris has some problems too, because that was a fairly big whack for him. Hasn't Harris been in the thick of it this weekend?
And David Cedars now in the background, he's dropping away. Oh no, this is not what you want to see. There's Harris on the inside of Walton, but it's David Cedars who's dropping away in the background. So that contact has obviously done some damage. You can see Cedars gone now. It's all over for him.
Oh, could this be the championship gone? Oh, more contact. That was Harris this time with Marjoram. Here he comes, left rear puncture. Dear me. Could this weekend get...
I hope we've got a replay of that, because we got down to the chase and he's tried to squeeze through. They had a little bit of contact with, we can see it here. So there's a little bit of contact with Barber, but it's running him onto the grass, running him onto the dirt. You can see there, bang, bang, straighten the car up, and he's trying to gather it up around the outside, and Harris out in the dirt. Oh, bang! Now that's going to have hurt Harris's car too, surely.
That's twice we've seen Harris run into the left rear rim of David Cedars, but this time it wasn't exactly clumsy. He saw an opportunity on the outside, didn't he?
But, you know, Harris finding himself out there on that dirt. You can see the grey part of the track. There's just no grip, and they can't gather it up. Bang, that is a big hit. And yeah, obviously Cedars now sinking.
Pretty good driving, really, from everyone there, Bugs, Steve. Just keep them pointing in the right direction. That could have been massive.
And this is what you can see there, where he's just run that little bit wide into Elliot Barber, and Harris four-wheel drift around the outside, but trying to get back on. Bang, no one's real fault there. Bit of a racing incident, but 2 of the main guys are sinking.
Here's Jeremy Gray. Just interesting watching Walton pick up another few spots out of all that. On the limiter, up behind Woodbury, to the left of Woodbury. Can you get the thing stopped? Talking about 1.8 tonnes of motor car down there, and he does so.
The contact patch with these Yokohama tyres, it squirms and it moves, and with the car that heavy, with that much load through the chase, and we've got Woodbury into pit lane now. So is that a result of his drive-through penalty, maybe, from the contact earlier with Bizanti? Oh, Hansford!
Hansford's gone.
It's all happening here this morning.
On the podium last year, his dad won this race with Larry Perkins in 1993. I mean, the big race.
That's down at the chase, I think it is. Yes, it is. So he's just pulled off there. That'll probably create some yellow flags, but it looks like he's clearly yellows out of the way. And you can see the yellow flag in the background there. So we shouldn't have a safety car with that one. We should be able to race to the end. But it's Reece McNally now has opened up even a bigger gap, as Medecki has no pressure either in second place.
This is going to be called as the final lap right now. Very impressed with the V8 Ute boys this weekend. Not a single safety car, and at this track, that's very difficult.
Well, we've had a lot of damage, we've had a lot of crashing, but some have managed to get out of the way and back to pit lane. which has been great. We had no one really in the fence and permanently there. So, but, you know, usual ute racing, and the Sunday morning certainly doesn't disappoint here at Bathurst. You can see the crowd there just waking up, getting the sleep out of the eyes, opening the tent, and there's the V8 ute belting around the track and making it a great morning.
Oh, big moment for McNally.
I wouldn't be pushing that hard with a lap to go, that's for sure.
Jeez, Reece settled down, last lap for the lanky West Aussie, and he's got a big lead over a simpler man of equal stature, actually, George Meadicke, the tall timber, first and second for the final race this weekend.
Certainly shouldn't stand me next to those two guys, that's for sure.
Here's Sam Barry getting his hands dirty. He's got Roll Harris in front of him and Jeremy Gray behind him. This is good stuff.
So Roll Harris limping around there. So he's trying to just get as many points as he can, survive the best he can, but Sam Barry's going to get on the inside, is he?
Nice.
Oh, he tried to throw that away then, but Roll Harris is getting out of the way. He knows he's just got to get to the finish line now.
So we won't be seeing Roll Harris on the podium today, nor will we see David Cedars. First time that Cedars will be missing the podium in 5 years of racing at this track. His teammate, though, no such problems. He's going to let it hang out a little bit. Here is Cedars, stop down the hill here. He's going to try and pick up a few more points right at the very end as his teammate cruises by. Reece McNally is going to take his first ever round win in the V8 Utes, fueled by Hog's Breath Cafe. George Meadicke onto the podium. Jesse Dixon home for third ahead of Chris Walton, who in terms of the championship has absolutely kicked a goal this weekend.
There's Cedars there. He's going to try and get across the finish line if he can to get some points if it's possible to get that car going again. There's Gray across the line. There's Roll Harris. He's come home in 10th place. So a good recovery there, but clearly it's not what you want to see, the contact with those guys. Reece McNally in the Holden. George Meadicke in the Holden. Jesse Dixon in the Holden. We haven't seen that this year, but Chris Walton, what a great result there in 4th place.
First time since Townsville last year, but the Holdens have had the whitewash, and Cedars an unfortunate DNF. He didn't manage to get home. So at the end of the weekend, it looks like this. McNally, man, that's Walton's 6th straight podium. George Meadicke home for 3rd.
Well, Reece, you're a Bathurst winner. That's fantastic.
Hey, it's an amazing feeling, you know. First round win, especially to do it at Bathurst, you know, what more could you ask for? So I'm absolutely wrapped. I'm absolutely wrapped for the team.
Yeah, tough racing out there too.
Yeah, you know, we're pretty fortunate with the start. We got a pretty good start and had a good opening lap, which was great. Saw him fighting behind me, which obviously gave us a bit more of a break. So, yeah, sort of after that, George put a bit of pressure on me and sort of he dropped off. So, you know, it wasn't, sort of had to keep pushing. But, yeah, it's definitely great to sort of just be able to do my own thing and enjoy the mountain.
To the Armour All point score, and the Holden squabbling over 3rd. It's very tight between Pretty and a few other boys. Cedars falling away now, isn't he? It's all shaping up nicely for Chris Walton.
Yeah, great result. I mean, the weekend we had pole taken off us. We got a penalty in yesterday's race. I made a stupid mistake. A bad start in that race. I was falling backwards, and then everything sort of just fell into my hands. People started shooting off everywhere. So to come out second for this round is just, it's lucky. That's what it is. It's just lucky. So, but hey, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the points, and we'll go to surface with that.
Making his return to the series, Al Letcher will take out our DBA Hardbreaker Award. He passed 8 cars. The Kiwi come West Aussie in race number 2. Despite his dramas in race 3, Phil Woodbury, the boy from Lithgow, is still leading our Rookie of the Year award. And this guy is victorious for the first time in our overall event sense. Congratulations, Reece McNally. We'll see him for the penultimate round. It's round 7 of 8, the Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise, always an exciting one. But Bathurst, it was a game changer in terms of the championship. A big thank you to Jason Barkwana for joining me in commentary. We'll see you on the Gold Coast.